Yeah,
what has been your biggest day just going live?
3,600. So if you have an opportunity, a sale, free shipping, an awesome coupon, take advantage of those moments.
All right, Nicole, welcome in. Thank you for joining us today. You guys, we have a very special guest. Nicole is one of the Live Academy members, and she just absolutely crushed it last month with Live. So we wanted to bring her on, ask her some questions, see if she'll maybe share some of her secret sauce with us. So without further ado, appreciate you joining us today, Nicole.
Thank you so much. Very excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess just to kind of get started, how did you find out about or get into TikTok Shop?
I've actually been affiliate for a long time, and the commissions weren't really there. And when I was scrolling on TikTok, I kept seeing people making like a lot more than me, even though I had a lot of companies behind me. It's like, "Ooh, maybe that's something I kind of need to look into." So then I saw one of the social army members, and I'm like, yeah, I think I need to look into this.
So you were doing affiliate marketing, just not on TikTok Shop then, like through like Amazon or maybe the other platforms out there?
Yeah, I had Amazon and about 4,000 other companies. I have multiple Facebook groups, Instagrams, all of that, that it was all working, but it was full time trying to correlate all the sales with everybody. And Amazon, I've been with Amazon for a few years, but the sales were very high and low depending on what time of year it was, and you couldn't really please everybody all of the time. It was definitely a challenge.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, especially just if you're using multiple different platforms, like how do you keep track of everything? Like it's so much
Exactly.
easier with TikTok. Like everything's right here. The commissions are really
Yeah.
good. The traffic's on TikTok. Like everything's on TikTok. You don't have to, have, remember 50 different passwords for different
Yeah.
websites to check your stats. So were you doing like, affiliate marketing full time when you started doing TikTok Shop?
Yeah. I
Okay.
was. I've actually been doing affiliate marketing full time for about 2.5 years. I was in medicine prior. And then after COVID, just really got burnt out and decided I need to kind of redirect myself. And marketing is something I've always enjoyed. I love medicine, but I also love marketing. So it was a very easy transition for me.
Yeah, and working for yourself is probably preferred
Yeah.
as opposed to going into work every day and working for somebody else, right?
Yeah. Well, scrubs are kind of like pajamas. So it was that comfort level, but now I can still be in my slippers and be at work. So it's great.
There you go. There you go. So how long have you been doing TikTok Shop? Obviously, you've been doing affiliate marketing for almost, about 2 years now, but how
Yeah.
long have you been doing TikTok Shop specifically?
The last week of April is when I started. And my first month I did $7.54.
It just proves that it works though, right? Like
Yeah.
most people, I feel like their first month, there's a few outliers that they just have, their first or second video go viral or, whatever the case is. But just making a couple sales, you're like, all right, this works. Now let's figure out how to, make it even better. So you
Yeah.
made like seven bucks your
Yeah,
first month.
I made $7 and I was like, wow, that's so great. Of course, I didn't know what the future held, but it was so easy to get that first $7 that I was like, okay, I'm going to put everybody else aside. I'm going to give this a month of directive attention to it and see where I can take that, because that was only one live. And I had no idea what I was saying. It was a product I already had, but I was thinking, well, I don't have a problem going live. Let's just try it out and see where we can go from there.
Oh, interesting. So you actually started with lives, like you didn't start with videos and like be
No.
like, okay, maybe let's try this live thing. You were just like, I'm jumping straight into lives.
Yeah, I have over 2 million hours of live on TikTok itself. So live was not something that I'm afraid of at all. I had almost 2 million hours before I even started TikTok Shop.
That's crazy. So you were no stranger to going live. You're like, this is easy. Now I just get
Yeah.
to sell a product that's already on TikTok. So made $7.50 your first month. How much
Yeah.
did you make your second month?
Second month I did just about 7,000. It was like
Okay.
690 or 6,900 some odd. I hit it right at a time where there was two viral products that I was able to really get right when the virality started. So for me, it was I hit one, and like my first live with the first viral product, I think I made $2,200 and kept making money for that week. And then the second time with the second viral product, I went live. And then that live, I made close to like $2,800 on my second live.
Wow. So that second month, like majority of your income came from just
Yeah.
two live streams.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I'm sure you were feeling pretty good on
Yeah.
those days after those lives.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't a bad feeling at all. And it was kind of like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this before? But I was watching what everybody else was doing, kind of watching the curing, so to say, of TikTok shop and how everybody was moving around it, what they were doing. Videos, I'm like a video producer in my head. They sound great in my head, but when I go to do them, it's like, wah, no. So for me, live streams are way easier.
Yeah, you and me both. And I think a lot of other people that have had success with lives, it's like, yeah, just videos, I just can't figure it out. Like, I know there's a lot of
Yeah.
people that do really well with videos, but
Mhm.
like, I probably made 50 videos before I started going live and, maybe made a few $100 over the course of 50 videos, which didn't really seem like that much for how much work I had to put into them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So you second month on lives made basically about $7,000, which
Yeah.
is insane. Obviously, I'm sure you're super happy about that. And then I guess early on when you started going live, kind of what were some of your biggest struggles there?
Well, I didn't really know what all the violations were. So I wasn't doing any supplements at that time. It was all electronics and beauty. But there's definitely some nuances of life, keeping up with the comments, keeping your energy up. I learned early on, I put a little sticker over how many people are in my live because I found my enthusiasm getting lower if my numbers dropped. And then I would get all of a sudden very excited if they'd come up, and I didn't want that fluctuation. So for me, it was keeping consistent enthusiasm about the product, and having a product that I liked was a huge thing, right? If you're trying to say, I really like this elbow pad, well, what are you going to say about it? It doesn't, you have to like what you're doing. And the first product that I did that I made the $7 with, I didn't really like the product. It was just like, let's gonna try this out. The rest of it, I've liked them all.
Yeah, those are some great pieces of advice. And you're not the first person that I've talked to that says they put that little sticker on over the numbers. I don't know if it was you that said it and other people started doing it, because I think I remember pretty early on you mentioning that
Yeah.
in Live Academy. And I think it's a great idea because I think we're all guilty of it. Like you see that there's 5, 10, 15, whatever viewers in there, and you're just like kind of deflated. You lose that enthusiasm and energy, which is a huge, huge part of live selling. So being able to keep that energy level up, even when you have low view numbers, is what's going to help you get higher view numbers. And I think a lot of
Yeah.
people don't realize that. Like you should be
Yeah.
selling the same way every single time, whether you have 5 people or 500 people. And that's what's going to really kind of propel your lives to the next level. So that's those are great pieces of advice. And I hope people that are watching this are taking notes because those are things that everybody should be doing and everybody should be implementing. So 2 months in, second month is pretty successful. You're like, all right, cool. I just made 7 grand. Most of it came from two lives. And then, if I'm not mistaken, this last month was your third month of doing TikTok Shop affiliate, or was it
June would have been
June?
technically the third month because
Okay.
of April at the end, but June was horrible. June, I got rattled by a violation. And here's just a little nugget for everybody. When you get rattled by a violation and your views are so low, don't do what I did. Try this product, try that product, try that product. You see people very successful on their lives. And I was telling the algorithm that I don't even know what product I'm going to do. So I don't even know who you're going to send it to. And it created some real hiccups, as far as how many people were in my live, what my sales were. So don't switcheroo all the time. I mean, you definitely told me stop doing that, and I was so hard-headed. I'm like, no, but this person is doing it really well, but it might not have been really well for me. And it ends up that was a huge issue for me for about 2.5 weeks in June of not really getting consistent sales. So to go from a high to drop down because I was hopscotching from product to product really was mentally messing me up and financially messing me up.
Yeah, I remember when you were going through that, you were like, I don't know what the heck is going on. Like I was doing really well. And now it's like, I can't get more than 5 people in my live. Obviously, that's going to have a huge impact on your sales. And a lot of us fall into that trap too, right? It's like we start getting low views, not really making many sales. We're like, all right, it's the product. I'm going to switch product. We switch the product. Same thing happens. We're like, all right, now I got to now it's the product again. I got to switch to another
Yeah.
product because you were doing everything right. Like your lives were really high quality and you were selling it well, but like TikTok just had no idea what the heck you were doing.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know if she's a supplement person or electronics or beauty or home goods or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So you guys, if you're listening out there, if you're watching this, don't make the mistake of product hopping consistently when things are bad. Give products some time and some runway to actually give TikTok the opportunity to send you guys the right audience so you can kind of really take off with that. So, okay, so month 3, it was a struggle. Obviously, you kind of had to overcome some challenges with violations there. And I think as, anyone that does this for any period of time, like you are going to deal with those challenges, whether it be violations, your top product selling out, or maybe even it gets taken off of the TikTok shop. Like these are all things that happen to us. So I'm glad you were kind of able to overcome that. I know just mentally it can really be draining to kind of be going through that.
Yeah.
You go from making hundreds or thousands a day to making like nothing, and it really sucks.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you came out the other side there. Okay, so month 4, that was the most recent month.
Yes.
Tell us about your results there. How much money did you make in month 4? How'd it go?
Month 4 was my goal was 10K. And then I was able to move that up to goal being 15K. I didn't quite meet it. I was a little bit over 13,000 in that month, which is when you come from a low month and then all of a sudden you're above 10K, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
it was fantastic. And that being said, it was $13,000 on a product that's less than $17. So that is a big number when you're selling something at a lower price point. To be able to have that much income, you have to sell it even harder and be really dedicated to it. Doesn't matter how you're feeling. It doesn't, you just got to go live and make it happen.
Yeah, you had to do a lot of volume to hit that number. And I mean, from going from having a really down month to having, over a $13,000 month is absolutely amazing. And the crazy thing about it is, and people don't really realize this, like we see people put up crazy numbers on TikTok, but even if someone's able to make $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month doing this, it's so crazy because you get to work from home, you get to work whenever you want. Most people that do this don't put in crazy hours. That people are not working 50 hours a week, right? The hours are pretty part-time. So that's awesome. I'm super happy for you. You had your best month there. And I know that you're only going to do better in the future because I've seen your live so many times and I know like just the quality and how well you sell the products. So I'm really excited to see what you do there. Now, you joined Live Academy. Was that back in June?
June, yeah.
Okay. Did you join right when we started it? I think you were in there from the beginning, weren't you?
I was in there, yeah. Pretty close to the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember, I think that's coming back to me now, putting the sticker on the thing. I think I remember you saying that pretty early on. So how much have you made, I guess, since joining Live Academy? I guess that would be June and July, essentially.
June and July. So probably since joining Live Academy, it would be at least probably 15,000
Hmm.
since joining. And that is because I had the structure, right? When you're trying to do it alone and you get in your head like how I was with those, with the issue in June, just knowing that there's all these other people that are going through the same thing that you're going through and having that support, I think that cushion when you're trying to push through everything was absolutely the reason why I was more successful last month than before, because you get in your head and you just get really frustrated, and being able to bounce off of other people that are in the same boat as you and celebrate wins and comfort losses and all of that, that was absolutely a catalyst to me rising up and being able to hit higher numbers.
Yeah, 100%. And I think my favorite part of it is that we all, we really kind of shorten the learning curve for a lot of these things
Yeah.
with TikTok, right? TikTok is constantly changing, and like we're constantly having to evolve every single day with the changes that they make. So we get to learn, maybe mistakes that people in the group make. We get to learn from their mistakes and then not have to make them and learn for ourselves. So it really kind of shortens that learning
Yeah.
curve. There's just a lot of collective knowledge within the group, which is probably my favorite thing about it. I mean, I learn a ton every single day. And I know you've shared like some extremely insightful and helpful tips with the group, and a lot of others have too. So it's definitely been awesome to have you in there. I know you said back in, I think it was May, you had 2 days where you made like 2,200 and 2,800.
Yeah.
What has been your biggest day just going live?
3,600.
3,600.
Yeah.
And
In
that
one
was in one day.
in one day.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
That was the day that my husband realized, oh, oh, this is actually working, and yeah, 3,600. I had a hard time sleeping that night because I was like, I could do more. I could still be
Yeah.
live, I can keep cranking it out. But I had been live. I divided it up into a morning and an afternoon session. So I started at 4 o'clock in the morning and went until 11:30. Took a break till 12:30, and then went from 12:30 until 7:30.
That's
So it was
crazy.
a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. You were probably exhausted the next day,
Yeah,
but good on you for really kind of taking advantage of just having a hot day. I think a lot of us, we kind of take for granted like these really good days that we have, and we just spend a few hours on live. It's like, all right, I'll go again tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow's not as good. But one of the things that I've learned from you and a couple other people in the group is like when it's hot, you guys are like just grinding, putting in the hours, because eventually you're going to look back. We all have, go through this thing where the product eventually slows down and we have to find a new product. But you're going to look back and be like, I'm glad I put in those extra hours when it was doing really well, because I look back and I'm like, I wish I would have put in those extra hours on those days where it was just really, really hot, right?
yeah, and I think that's something too. TikTok is up and down all the time. So if you have an opportunity, a sale, free shipping, an awesome coupon, take advantage of those moments, because especially if it's a product that you're well versed on, right? That happened to be a product that I was well versed on. I had longevity of doing lives on that product. So I already knew that I was able to sell the product, but now it was a little bit easier because now I had a sale and I had free shipping. So definitely take advantage of those moments, because other days you're going to have low days, right? So if you have a day like I'm in one right now where I have a sale and I have free shipping, take advantage of those higher days. So when you even out the whole month, everything, you don't have highs and lows and highs and lows. You don't have all of that. So I'm so sorry. My dog is
That's all right. he,
drinking
he
water.
he's got to stay hydrated too. It's hot. It's the summertime. But no, you're absolutely correct. Like, and I think that's just like a perspective thing that we kind of have to gain over time, right? It's like, or if you can start with that perspective from the beginning, you're just gonna be so much better off because you're not gonna let those low days affect you, mentally so much. It's like, hey, it was a
Yeah.
bad day today, but I know tomorrow or the next day is gonna be better. And then to your point about things being on sale or free shipping, like those two things, being free shipping and being on sale, make it a massive difference for conversions on
Mm-hmm.
TikTok. I think TikTok has really become a culture of sales and discounts. So people don't want to pay full price
Mm.
for something on TikTok. They
Yeah.
buy because they feel like they're getting a good deal on it, and it's kind of known for that. One other thing too, I wanted to jump back to because I'm kind of having some Friday brain right now. So earlier, I think like 15 minutes ago, you had mentioned it. It just was popping in my brain. I'm like, I need to bring that up. You were mentioning being an expert on the product. And
Yeah.
I think that is a super, super important thing for people just to keep in mind. And I think that's one of the reasons too, not only for the TikTok algorithm, but for ourselves and everything that we're saying and kind of perfecting our pitch and our
Mm-hmm.
craft. Like that's why it's so important to stick with one product, because not only is TikTok going to figure out who your audience is, but you're also going to
Mm-hmm.
consistently improve over time everything that you're saying. Like I'm sure the first time that you went live with the product you're doing now, up to today, your script and what you're saying has drastically changed and improved
Completely.
over time.
Yeah. And I think, if you're selling something anyways, you have to take a responsibility to whatever item it is that you're selling and really know if it's a beauty product, what's in it, who's good for it, who's bad for it. If it's electronics, why does that electronics work? What's making it work? Really immerse yourself in that product, because it becomes very easy for you to answer questions. It becomes you no longer need a script because you know that product so well. You're using the product yourself. You know the ups and the downs, and that's something that I definitely do. As far as my lives, if there's a downside to it, I'm going to let the people know this is where my downside is to it, because I think that genuine response to talking about a product is something that people can relate to, and it's important. You have to have that relatability, but that's how you build trust, is saying, well, I really like this, but it has one thing I don't prefer, where for somebody else, they might not care what that is, but being able to really know the product, and then you can speak more enthusiastically about it too. If it's a product that you love and it's a product that you know really well, your voice and fluctuations, everything is totally different. And because I do faceless 98% of the time, my voice is really my tool, and my hands. But being able to that voice and fluctuation, that excitement that you build, and being able to sound like an expert in your field or an expert with that product is absolutely key to being able to sell it, instead of just saying, this, I can click it and it works. Why does it work? What is it doing for you? How is it going to be able to help the person that is a potential buyer? How can you get that item into that person's home? Where can you, whatever it is, if it's a mouse, does yours not work correctly? This one has whatever. But it's about the other person that's wanting to buy it seeing themselves with that product. Does it solve a pain point? Does it do all that? If you have knowledge of that product, you can hit all those points without really having to even think about it. And then people go, oh, yeah, that actually would really work out for me. And it's not something you intentionally did. It's just, the product so well that you can go ahead and say whatever you need to say about the product. But I think that's the responsibility of being on live and answering those questions, is really knowing that product, being enthusiastic about that product, and just being able to portray that to people so they understand how they need that product, why they need that product, what is it going to do for them? Or is she just some, snake oil selling, somebody that's trying to sell me something else?
Yeah, I agree 110%. You said a couple things there that I think are really important to highlight. Like, number one, we have a responsibility to the brands to be experts on the product, and we have a responsibility to the customers and potential customers to be an expert on the product. And then by doing that, you use the word trust. I think that's something that's not talked about enough with lives. It's like, I think you do so well because you build so much trust in the people that are coming onto your lives. Like they believe that you are actually, they believe you're an expert on the product. They believe that you believe in the product, and I think that really helped. Helps them to make a purchasing decision. And I think a lot of people, they go on TikTok and they scroll through and they see lives and there's no trust built whatsoever. You can just tell it's somebody that's just trying to hammer a product down your throat. I'm guilty of it too. But that's, I think, such a big piece that it's not really talked about, just building that trust. And part of that is being an expert on the product. So I'm glad that you mentioned those two things. Be an expert on the product and build trust with your customers. And like Nicole said, like if there is a downside to the product, letting people know about that is going to do a lot of things. Number one, people are going to trust you more, but it's also going to help the company and yourself in the long run, because people aren't going to get something with false expectations, go ahead and return it. You lose your commission, the company gets a bad review. It's just bad for everybody. It's better to just have people, clear expectations from the beginning. There's nothing hidden, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, what do you think one thing is, and you kind of just covered a lot of this, so maybe like maybe this question is irrelevant, but what do you think the one thing is, like strategy wise, that's really kind of helped you the most?
I would have to say positivity. I mean, it doesn't sound like a strategy, but it kind of is. Because if you're not, we all have down days, we all have up days. Staying positive that you're on the right track, that these things are going to go the right way. But another strategy is every day look at what shop is doing, look what products are hitting, see what other people are doing lives on. If you're doing 30 days on one product, kind of watch another product so you know what your next product can be, and start watching lives, see how people are taking in that product, how many times you see the banner, somebody's clicking on the product, and just kind of know ahead of time, this is my next step. I think a lot of people are in a step right now and they're not ready for their next their next product. You can't always stay on the same well, you could, but you shouldn't always stay on the same product. My price point of my product now is low, so I have to sell a lot to accumulate a larger amount of commission and a larger amount of GMV. Now, when I switch products, I want to switch it so it is a little bit more. So I'm bumping myself up. And I think knowing when it's time to bump yourself up to a higher end product, I think that is huge. Some people, you have to kind of ride the wave of, stuff under $20 and really get used to being on live, really get used to the dynamics of live. And then when you feel confident, boost yourself up another level, and then talk about that product. But just always stay positive, because it doesn't matter if it's a $10 product or a $200 product. If you sell one or two, you're still selling it in your slippers, right? So it doesn't really matter, because if you stay consistent, the algorithm will find you and the algorithm will feed you those people. And for me, that was a strategy that I learned because of Social Army, because I was, just kept going with different products. And then once I stayed consistent, now the algorithm feeds me constantly new clients, new customers, new eyes, new followers, everything. So just stay absolutely consistent, stay positive even on down days, and just have fun with it. This is something, it's TikTok, right? We're used to dances and all of this other stuff. Don't be so regimented. Have a little bit of fun with it. Resonate with your crowd that's in your room, and put in little personal stories or something like that. Again, they're going to relate to you, and that's why they're going to buy the product, is by that relation. By being able to say, I can see myself in that situation. So if she's having that kind of luck with this product, then maybe I should try it. And really being able to resonate with your audience and know that there are people out there that like the product just like you do. Maybe not all in the same day, but stay positive, because the next day the algorithm can feed you 500 people that have been looking for that product but haven't been able to find it.
Yeah, those are all great points. You covered a lot there, right? So consistency, positivity, having a positive
Mm-hmm.
mindset, I think that's a huge thing. And then what was the last thing? I know I'm missing something that you literally just said.
Positivity. I have Friday brain too.
Yeah, yeah. Those are two really important things though, right? The consistency
Yeah.
and the positivity, those things alone. Oh yeah, and then having
Related.
fun with it. Relatability and having fun with it, right? Those two
Yeah.
kind of tie together, right? But I'm the most rigid person ever on lives, and like it's just my personality, so I know I can do better at that. And some people are just naturally good at that. I think you're one of those people that's just naturally good at just kind of being fun and free flowing. But I think doing that just
Mhm.
humanizes the person who they can't see if you're doing
Exactly.
faceless, right? They can see your hands in a product, but they now kind of paint a picture of who you are, and it just makes you so much more relatable, trustworthy, and all of these things. So I think those are absolutely excellent points. And you've already dropped like so much knowledge and so many information, nuggets here. But I'm going to ask you one more. I'm going to ask you one more question. What would be like the one or two pieces of advice that you would give to somebody that's just starting out on TikTok Shop and wants to kind of, focus on lives?
Uh, Plug in to the community, learn from the people around you that may have been doing it longer. Watch what everybody else is doing. What are the ups? What are the downs? But really just plugging in and understanding kind of the ebb and flow of it. That would be the first thing, is learning from people that have been doing it for a long time. Everybody's personalities are different. We're all going to do it differently, but plugging into the community is really it absolutely is key, because that is your support system. So that would be definitely one of the first things. One of the second things is don't be so anxious that you start goes back to believability in the product. Don't be so anxious that you start promoting a pencil just because it's there and it's on sale in TikTok Shop. Make sure that the product that you're choosing, you enjoy that product, but that you feel capable to be able to sell that product and make it be believable that that product is better than that brand or that brand or that brand. But make sure your product selection, especially on your first live, because if you pick a crappy something or another on your first live, then what's going to happen is you're not going to have good views, you're not going to have very good sales, and then you're going to get really frustrated. So watch what everybody else is doing, and whatever resonates with you, whether it's cooking, beauty, electronics, whatever it is, pick something that you enjoy. It's a whole lot easier to talk about it on a live than it is something you have really no knowledge of previously.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference if you are personally interested, if you personally use the product, you personally like the product, like all of that stuff is going to come through in your voice and your tonality and your
Mhm.
inflections and all of these things. If you don't really believe in the product, you just think, "Hey, I think this is going to sell well." Like you're not going to sell it very well. Sure,
Yeah,
you can make some sales, but you're probably not going to sell it as good as you could something else that you have,
sure.
belief in. I think that makes a huge difference. I think that's actually something that we talk about in the training. But for those of you guys that do want to join the community, we have both the Live Academy and Social Army. Live Academy is specifically for people that want to focus on lives. Social Army is more geared towards videos. We do have a link down below for that, for those of you guys that want to join that there. But Nicole, I think you have shared so much knowledge and wisdom, and I'm really excited to see kind of what the future holds with you with lives, because I know you have some big plans and you have some big stuff in the pipeline for
Yeah.
kind of your ventures with lives. We won't spill any beans here or anything like that, but I'm definitely excited to see what happens, and we're probably going to have you back on in a couple months just to kind of get an update. So just want to thank you for
Definitely
coming.
hoping to double July's numbers in August. That is the goal.
I think you're going to do that, and then I think and beyond in the coming months. So really excited to see that happen, and just want to say thank you again, Nicole, for coming on. This was absolutely awesome, and I think people are going to take a lot of value from this.
I hope so. Thank you so much.